I bought every single professional bleach power lift lightener that Cosmoprof carries, so you don't have to, and we're gonna put them to the test. We're gonna see which one has the highest lift on these level 2 swatches, so stick around to the very end and see if your lightener is the best. And if you're new here, my name's Mirella Manelli. I'm a hair educator who loves helping hairstylists simplify their skills and business. And if you like videos like these, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and share it with a friend, because that's the best way that you can support my channel and get it to the right people. Now let's go ahead and get this video started. So I purchased every single power lifting lightener that Cosmoprof carries that claims that it has 8 or 9+ levels of lift. And I also got the corresponding developers so that way we can give each lightener its best chance. Now, in order to see the best result, I went ahead and ordered these level 2 virgin hair swatches from Amazon. And I really think we're gonna be able to see exactly how much power each of these have. So now let's check out the lineup. So we got Joico Blonde Life, Joico Blonde Life Silverlight Lightener, Danger Jones Powder Lightener, Schwartzkopf Blondeme, the Rusk Deepshine Ultimate Blonde Powder Lightener, Paul Mitchell Synchrolift, Goldwell Oxycur Platin, Wella Blomdorplex 9, Kenra Blue Powder Lightener, and Beyond Bond lightener. So first up is the Joico Blonde Life. Now this lightener runs at $29.83 for 16 ounces. And we're gonna be mixing it up with the corresponding developer at 20 volume. So the features and benefits of Joico Blonde Life is that it's proven to keep blondes bright and on tone for up to 8 weeks, strengthens hair, reducing breakage by over 54% in just one treatment. It processes in 60 minutes or less and is formulated with tamanu oil and manoi oil. I think I'm saying that right. So this bleach lightener can be used on or off scalp, can be mixed up 1:1 or 1:2 with 10, 20, 30, or 40 volume, and absolutely no heat is necessary when processing this lightener. And like I already mentioned, this can go up to 60 minutes of processing time. So now let's go ahead and open this up, mix it up, and put this to the test. So I actually have this lightener in my salon, so I'm pretty familiar with it, and I have to say it's definitely a favorite of mine in the salon. So I kind of already know like how it smells and what it looks like. Just want to make sure that it's not extra dusty in there. So I don't even need to do the sniff test. I can already smell it. You can smell that ammonia in there. It's pretty intense. So you can see that this is a blue type of powder lightener. And the reason why I typically grab this one is if I'm working on somebody with really dark hair, but it'll be fun to put this to the test and line it up side by side with all of the other lighteners that we're testing today. So let's go ahead and mix this up. So we're just gonna do 1 to 2, so 1 part of our powder to 2 parts of our developer. Now what you'll notice is that this developer is really rich and creamy, which if you've ever used this lightener, you know how strong it is. This is why I'm like a big believer in using the developer that goes with this lightener. So overall, I really like the viscosity. I like how it whisks up. It mixes really easily. And out of 1 to 2, it's actually a really nice kind of thicker feel to it. But the reason why I really like it is because it moves through the hair really nicely. So let's go ahead and do the swatch. So this is why I like this lightener, because look how it just like doesn't move. Like this is what you want. And this is great for like on scalp specifically, because then you can get precision application. So that's something that I look for in a lightener. So let's go ahead and get this on. Now, if you plan on doing your own testing at home, what I would really suggest is make sure you get both sides of the swatch. I like to work it in there, just kind of move the hair side by side. All right, so now we're just gonna let this process and let it cook. So it's been 60 minutes for the Joico Blonde Life. Let's go ahead and take a little peeky peek. So as expected, I was definitely thinking that this was going to lift really well. I loved Joico Blonde Life, but this is the very first swatch that I've tested. So I'm really excited to see the rest of them. I definitely think like I probably could have applied it a little better, and I know that the lightener itself is really thick, so even at that 1 to 2 you really have to like work it in. So that would probably be like the negative about it for me, but I like thick lightener. That's like my favorite part about it. And usually when doing any type of highlighting services, you want to take really thin sections, but overall I'm really pleased. I'm gonna go ahead and wash this out. Now, when I see claims of 9+ levels of lift, I'm expecting it to take this level 2 swatch to a level 10, 11, or 12, right? But you can see that it didn't quite get there. So let's go ahead and compare it to the level finder and see exactly how many levels of lift we actually got from this level 2. So in comparison, we definitely got to a level, I would say a solid level 8 here with the Joico Blonde Life. Just to give a comparison, this is a natural level 2. You can see it kind of lives right between these two swatches. So yeah, we definitely got a solid level 8. So overall, the Joico Blonde Life left the hair in really great integrity. I like how it feels. And I think for the amount of lift that we got, this is something that I could work with starting at a level 2. Next up is the Joico Blonde Life Silverlight Powder Lightener. Now, this retails for $35 for 16 ounces. And the cool thing about this is that it's infused with charcoal, so it's going to help counteract that brassiness as it's lifting, and it also gives you up to 9 levels plus of lift. Some key features and benefits about this lightener is that it's perfect for your client who wants on-trend cool gray or ash or even silver toned blonde hair, helps prime hair while processing to prepare for those cool silver blondes, and it does not transfer when rinsing. It also protects the hair and reduces styling breakage by over 54% and strengthens the hair, making it 2 times more resistant to breakage. So this lightener is the new kid on the block. I've actually never tried it or used it. I have no idea what it smells like, so we're definitely going to be doing the sniff test on it right now. Oh, wow. This is actually, it is very charcoal gray. Just note to brands, I hate taking paper out of lightener. That's like, if we can fix that, maybe put a little tape on the side, that'd be great. It's actually not that bad, but it does smell like your typical ammonia lightener. Look how gray this looks. That's pretty cool, right? Like, I'm really curious how this is going to mix and how it's going to process. They got a little dust factor just like the other Blonde Life, so definitely, you know, be careful with that. It feels like a traditional lightener that I've used many, many times. So really similar to the actual Joico Blonde Life. It just kind of looks a little clayish to me, and I don't know if that's because of the gray color. So let's go ahead and mix this up. So the way you mix this up is at a 1:2 mixing ratio. There's only one way that it's suggesting. So we're gonna do 20 grams of the powder, and we're gonna do 2 parts of this. So we're gonna have a total of 60 grams for one little tiny hair swatch. So it's kind of interesting as I'm mixing this up, it kind of is starting to look a little bit like sand, like really fine sand. It's definitely really gray. I like the viscosity so far. I like how it's thickening up. That's already a good sign. I like to see that it's like sticking to my whisk a little bit because I love precision with lightener. All right, so let's go ahead and get this on the swatch. So this lightener can be used on or off scalp, and it's recommended to use 10 or 20 on scalp, and you can use 30 or 40 or up to 30 or 40 off scalp. No heat is required when using this product. As a matter of fact, they don't recommend heat. Now, so far, I'm really liking how this feels. It's really nice. But you can definitely see this charcoal color kind of going on. I'm really curious to see how this oxidizes, how it processes, because initially when like looking at this makes me feel like I'm not going to be able to see the lift after the 60 minutes because this processing time is also up to 60 minutes. We're just gonna let this process and let this one cook too. So it's been 60 minutes. Let's go ahead and take a peek at the Silverlight. All right, okay, so number one, I'm actually impressed that I can see the tone of the hair instantly. That's huge for me because I was a little concerned with the gray kind of getting in the way. Like a lot of times blue powder lighteners give you this illusion that it's done, but this looks pretty good. It definitely looks more on the cooler muted side, but I'm really curious to see how light this actually gets once we shampoo this off. Now that this is washed out, I can really see the neutralization from that charcoal base, and I think it did a really great job. Now again, compared to that level 2, it did a really great job. You can see the amount of lift, but technically we should be at that level 10 if we're getting up to 9 levels of lift. So let's go ahead and compare this to the level finder and see exactly where it's at on the chart. So I definitely think we got to a good solid level 9. Let's just double check here. I'm gonna go for an 8.5. I think this is right an 8.5. It's not quite an 8. This definitely got a little lighter than the other Blonde Life, but overall did a really great job. And also this feels really great. I think that the integrity feels amazing. It feels really smooth. The cuticle feels intact. And I think this is a lift that I can definitely work with.
Danger! Get on the floor!
Next up is Danger Jones Powder Lightener. Now this comes in at $29 for 17.65 ounces. Now the claims on this is that it's going to give you up to 9 levels of lift and it's formulated with Bond Complex. Some key features and benefits of the Danger Jones Powder Lightener is that it's the first powder lightener to combine these 3 unique ingredients, which is bonding complex, arginine, and specialized seaweed. It comes pre-dusted, it's cool-toned, vegan, gluten and paraben free, and they don't do any animal testing. Now let's go ahead and open this up and see if this truly is pre-dusted. I've actually never used this lightener either, so I'm gonna have to do the little sniffy sniff test. Okay, I don't see any dusty dust going on, which is kind of cool. It is cool tone. Definitely there's some blue going on there. Oh, there's a little dust, 911 dust. Okay, I like that it's kind of like, kind of sandy. I'm being careful, obviously. I can kind of smell the ammonia, but I think maybe the pre-dustedness probably does make a difference because it's not like, you know, big old cloud. So definitely makes a huge difference. So let's go ahead and mix this up. So you can use this lightener on or off scalp, and you can actually use 5 through 40 volume. Now there are some specifications to that. So if you use 5 through 20 volume on scalp, up to 30 in foils, and 40 volume only for doing hair painting. So I have 20 grams here. So we're gonna mix this up at a 1:2 mixing ratio. You can do 1:1 or 1:2. So this lightener is kind of interesting already because it's like super fine granules. I really love this viscosity. I love, look how thick that is. Like that's amazing. So let's go ahead and apply this to our level 2 swatch. So this lightener is going to process up to 50 minutes with no heat. So it's really important that you always read manufacturer's instructions. When they say no heat, there's usually a reason for that. So far, I really like how this feels. I think between what I've tested already and this one, this feels like really nice and glidey. I really like how it feels just painting it on. That's kind of important to me too. So far, like the Joico Blonde Life that I tested, it was like a little more thicker, so I'd like work it in a little bit more. But I'm kind of familiar with that because I do use that lightener quite a bit. So it'll be interesting to see how this lifts in comparison. How your bleach is applied is exactly how it's going to lift. So if it looks patchy, it's going to lift patchy. We're gonna let this baby bake. It's been 50 minutes. Let's go ahead and check. Wow, I like literally just stopped talking instantly. This looks the most yellow so far out of the other lighteners. This definitely looks pretty light. I will say there's a lot of swell factor to this bleach. I could feel like the puffiness from the foil and the lightener. I don't know how that would translate like for an on-scalp application, but I am so freaking excited to rinse this one out. Now that this has been washed out, I really think this got really light. I'm pretty surprised for how much pow and lift we got in just 50 minutes. And overall, this looks pretty light. Again, gonna go back to that 9+ levels of lift. It's quite not a 10, but let's see according to the level finder. So this is a 10. Definitely not that, but this is for sure a solid level 9. I'm definitely putting this at a level 9. This definitely got from a 2 to a 9 in 50 minutes. Holy cow, that's pretty impressive. Now, I don't know if it's because Danger Jones caters to more of vivid hair color specialists, so maybe their lighteners are a little bit more aggressive so that you get that nice even canvas for those vivid shades, but this really kind of blew me away. And overall, this feels really great too. I feel like the integrity is intact. It feels really soft and manageable. I really love this canvas. So far, this is a canvas I would love to have every single time that I'm lifting, especially on a level 2 hair. Next up is the Schwartzkopf Blondeme. Now, this is a really popular go-to lightener for a lot of stylists, and surprisingly, I haven't used this in probably about 15 years, so a really long time. Now, this comes in at $28.28 for 15.87 ounces. Now, some key features and benefits of the Schwartzkopf Blondeme is that it's going to give you up to 9 levels of lift. It's integrated with anti-metal bond protection technology to protect the hair fiber during processing for minimized hair breakage. It's suitable for all hair types. It has anti-yellow agents to help neutralize those warm undertones, and it's going to give you flexing mixing ratios. So now let's go ahead and open this up. Oh, it's got a little pulley tab right here. Now, I know that this one definitely is a strong one. It's, like I said, been a long time since I've used it. Oh, wow. I don't even need to do the sniff test. I can smell it from here. It's coming. This is the dust factor for sure. But where's the scooper? What? There is literally no scooper in here. What the what? There's no scooper in here. I'm like, how am I supposed to do this? I'm like super disappointed. So I gotta borrow a scooper. So we're gonna be mixing this up. You can do 1 to 1.5 or 1 to 2.5. So we're gonna do the 1 to 2.5. And when I do that, I like to always mix in grams. So we're gonna go 10 grams in and then do 2.5 of our developer. So let's go ahead and mix this up. I will say I really like this developer. It's probably like my favorite thing about this so far. It's really, really thick developer. I love developers with a lot of conditioners and buffers in them. And this literally mixes up exactly how I remembered it. It's really thick, but it's also like creamy at the same time. So let's go ahead and put this on the swatch. So after doing a little research, I found out that it does not come with a scooper, that you need to buy the scooper for like $2 or something. So really this lightener is more per ounce. However, you should be reducing your plastic waste, and I can see the whole point of it, but still, like, you lost a point for me for that. So this lightener claims that you can use it for really all types of highlighting methods, full application, foiling methods, color corrections, you name it. And I will say this is a very popular lightener in the salon. Now, this has a maximum processing time of 45 minutes, and you can use this lightener on and off scalp, up to 20 volume developer, and then up to 30 volume for off scalp applications. Okay, so this right here is exactly why you need to get both sides of the hair, and this applies to actually highlighting the hair. You see that dark little patch right there? You can't get to the other side when you're working with really thick section. That's why using really thin sections is key when lifting hair. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this process and let her do her thing. All right, right off the bat, this Schwarzkopf foil feels a little fluffy. So we're gonna go ahead and open this up. To be expected, not surprised by the amount of yellow that we got going on here. This looks amazing. Let's go ahead and wash this out. Now that I got this one washed out, I'm actually quite surprised at why this lightener is as popular as it is for hairstylists. I just don't see the wow factor from the 2 into the level that we got here. I was really expecting something a little bit more wow factor. This is kind of why I've been using Joico Blonde Life for so long, because I felt like I got more lift out of that for the longest time. And there's a lot of hairstylists that swear by Schwarzkopf Blondeme. The lift isn't terrible, but let's go ahead and see and size it up against the level finder, because again, if it has that 9+ level of lift claim, I'm expecting some pow out of this. So we're not quite a 7, we're not quite an 8, 7.5. Again, if it has a lot of orange pigment in it, it gets really difficult to neutralize, and that's just something like I just don't want to mess with. I'm definitely gonna like look for a lightener that could better give me lift, and because it does exist, it's out there. Overall, level 2 to a 7.5, pretty good, pretty decent, but again, the popularity behind this lightener specifically, I'm a little surprised. So if you're a Schwartzkopf user, Blondeme user, avid user of Blondeme, let me know down below if you're kind of surprised by this lift as much as I am. Next up is the Rusk Deepshine Ultimate Blonde Powder Lightener. Now this lightener retails for $22.45 for 17.64 ounces. Now this lightener is for off-scalp applications only and gives you up to 9 levels of lift. Some of the key features and benefits of the Rusk Deepshine is that it's formulated with inulin, which is a sugar complex that can form a grid-like structure during the lightening process, which helps keep the hair fibers intact and moisture retained. This is also dust-free and you can mix it up 1:2 mixing ratio and process it up to 45 minutes. Let's go ahead and open this up. I've actually never used this lightener. Oh, got a scooper, and it comes in this little bag. Usually when it comes in this kind of a bag, it doesn't have any air in it, which is nice, but it does say that it comes dust-free. Not dust-free, reduced dust. So let's see if that is in fact a thing. See, the trick to this is that you put the bag in here so it just reduces the dust, because you really shouldn't be sniffing this stuff at all. I mean, I'm not mad about it. There wasn't like a cloud, so that's a plus for sure. So initial reactions of the smell, it does smell nice, but it is, you can smell the ammonia, if you will, or like the strength of it. I don't really see too much of a cloud, which is kind of nice. Those are always plus. That's what keeps us, you know, healthier around toxic chemicals all day. So I really like that. And I love the color of it. I think it's going to be a really nice blue powder lightener. It is definitely like a fine type of sandy sugar. Very similar to all of the other ones. So let's go ahead and mix this up. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to do 10 grams here. Never mind, just kidding. I'm going to do 13, 15 grams. And we're going to use a corresponding developer with this. Ooh, this developer smells really nice. Almost kind of smells like a little bit like bubble gum. So far this feels really nice in the bowl. It mixes up pretty good. I like how quickly it is mixing up. It is a little bit more on the thinner side of the viscosity. So I don't know if I'm going to like this consistency for precision and the application. But let's see. Maybe it'll surprise me. So this Rusk, it kind of smells like bubblicious. Okay, so it has thickened up a little bit since it's been in this bowl, or since I like let it kind of like settle a little bit. So maybe like the thin viscosity thing, you know, initially is like that, but just needs a moment to kind of warm up. But you can see like it's sticking to my brush pretty well. So I kind of judged it a little too soon. But it does feel really nice going through the hair. Like I said, I've never tried this lightener before. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and set the timer. Dun, 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 dun. It's been 45 minutes. It's okay. I was expecting a little bit more out of this one. It looks like the other ones though too. I'm not like hating it. I don't know why. I was just thinking it was going to be a little bit more blonder. I think this one's like the darkest of them. I don't know. Gotta see how this washes out. But I mean, I'm telling you, bubblicious, man. This smells like bubblicious. Now that this has been shampooed out, I definitely think this is on the warm side, the darker side. It's still got a great lift for a level 2, but gonna throw it back to that 9+ levels of lift. I'm expecting some wow factor here, and it quite didn't get there for me. So let's go ahead and size it up to the level finder and see where exactly this is lying. So I'm definitely gonna give this like, it's not quite an 8. It like almost is an 8. I'm going to give this a 7.5, maybe a 7.75. It's definitely not a 7, but it's pretty like dead on the center of it for sure. So I'm going to give this an okay lift for me. Overall, the integrity of the hair also feels really great. I'm not mad about it. I think it does feel really nice. I just don't know if this is something that I'd want to really work with, because usually when the hair is in that 7 range, it gets kind of difficult to neutralize because you're battling a lot of orange tones, and orange is so much more difficult to battle than a yellow or even a yellow orange. Because like a level 8 I can hang with, but Once it's in that 7 range, it gets kind of tricky. So we'll see how the other ones size up. Next up is the Paul Mitchell Synchrolift. Now this comes at $36.95 for a 28-ounce container. Now this is a gentle and dust-free formula that's packed full of power and can give you up to 9 levels of lift. Now some of the key features and benefits is that it is infused with shea to help soften and condition and also add shine to the hair. You can use it for on or off scalp. Its plant-powered technology retains moisture and won't dry out. It has a clear lift technology that minimizes yellow tones for a clean and bright blonde. So let's go ahead and open this up. Never use this lightener either. Okay. Yay, scooper. It's little things. And yay, the package is so nicely just, you know, the paper, it's not in with the lightener. I like that. So you got this little plastic baggie. Let's see if in fact it is dust free, because that's what it says is dust free. Okay, maybe 3% dust. I see a little bit of dust. I will say, like, I'm not getting this instant like poof of fragrance in my face, which is nice. And this has like a whitish blue tint. So let's go ahead and mix this up. Now, upon further investigation, I am getting a little bit more dust factor than what I thought. However, it's still not as dusty as the others. Now, the way you mix this up is at a 1:2 mixing ratio. So you can do on scalp applications with this one up to 20 volume, and then any volume of developer for off scalp applications. But we're going to be using our 20 volume. It almost kind of feels like powdered sugar. So far I like the viscosity, so let's go ahead and put it to the test by putting on our swatch. So this lightener requires no heat and can be processed up to 45 minutes. Got my little brush test. So far I'm liking this. I like the thickness of it. And I also kind of like that this is white. I'm not mad about it. It has like the slightest blue tinge to it. It's really interesting. I think the thing that I like most so far about the Paul Mitchell is it doesn't have like a strong odor to it. Or maybe I'm just kind of getting desensitized to all of the lighteners that I've used so far. But I really can't feel like that burning sensation that we sometimes get from the ammonia. And she is done. Let's let her cook. So it's been 45 minutes for Paul Mitchell, so let's take a little peeky peek. Okay, so I'm seeing a little bit of orangey tones, more closer towards the top, and it looks a little blonder towards the end. I do like that it's white, but again, let's go ahead and wash this out. Let's see what it actually looks like. So I wasn't really expecting much out of the Paul Mitchell. I hadn't used it really. Maybe I used some form of Paul Mitchell lightener back in beauty school. So let's go ahead and size it up next to the level finder. So I'm putting this here and I'm definitely feeling like, I don't know. I think this might also be pretty, it's got a little orange tones in there. I'm gonna go with like a 7.5 with this one too. So just because it has a little bit of that like orangey tone to it, I'm gonna X-nay this one. But overall, I do think that the integrity of the hair feels really nice. I'm so far haven't been mad about how the hair has felt on any of these test strands. They've all felt really great, which is nice because when we're working with power lifters, you want to make sure that the integrity of the hair is there. So for that, it's definitely an okay lightener for me, maybe for some general lighting, but if I'm going from a 2 to like a platinum, I probably would skip this one. Next up is the Goldwell Oxycur. So this comes in at $23.59 for a 17.6 ounce container. This is going to be a fast acting and powerful lifting lightener that's going to give you up to 9 levels of lift. Some key features and benefits is that it's integrated with Bond Pro Plus technology, and its upgraded lightning control technology has that anti-yellow system that suppresses warm tones for a clearer lift. All right, so let's go ahead and open this up. I have never used this lightener before, but again, love packaging so far. Got the little insert that tells you how to use it. On top, no powder, no nothing, which is amazing. Let's go ahead and see dust factor. So far, so good. And yay, has a scooper in it. It actually smells not too bad. I'm not mad about it. I can smell it from here, but it's not like crazy. So let's go ahead and mix this one up. So far out of all of these, this seems to be truly the most dust-free. Now, this mixing ratio was a little interesting. It said to do 25 grams of the powder to 35 grams of the developer. So I'm going to mix it up exactly like that. I'm not quite sure what the ratio is, so that is a little confusing. So I'm going to put 35 grams. I think that would be kind of a negative for me, to be completely honest, just because sometimes I don't need this much lightener, and just to have to do the math of 25 grams to 35 grams and then divide that up might be a little difficult or challenging for some of us. But I think the plus side to this so far, it is definitely dust free. Like I said, I can smell it. It doesn't smell bad, it smells good. It's a little interesting to mix together. It's a little like kind of clumpy. And as I'm mixing this up, I can definitely start smelling the fragrance a little bit more out of it. It kind of has like a pleasant old lady smell. Old lady. Just like a really clean, pretty old lady. So this is another one where it's a little slightly runny, but maybe needs a little more time to kind of thicken up. We'll see. So let's go ahead and paint this right onto a swatch. So this lightener is going to be processed at 45 minutes with no heat. Now it's had some time to kind of thicken up. And so far, I'm not hating it. It is a little bit more on the runny side. I can see it's kind of moving a little bit, but totally fine. And it is really creamy. I'm not sure how I would like this for highlights. It's almost too creamy for me. I like a little bit of grit to mine, but I don't know. That's just maybe because it's new, it's different, right? All right, so let's go ahead and close this baby up. So this one also kind of feels a little fluffy fluff. Let's go ahead and take a little peeky peek. Wow, okay. I mean, these are all kind of looking really similar. I do like the smell of this one. I don't know what it is, but it smells so good. It does feel really creamy. It feels like the hair feels really soft. Let's go ahead and wash this one out. So one of the things that I liked about when I was washing this out was how the hair was feeling. I thought it felt really silky. Not seeing that level 9, 10 hair though, unfortunately. But comparison to the level 2 to what we lifted to, it's definitely on the okay range for me. So let me go ahead and size it up next to the level finder. So putting this here, definitely this is like a solid level 8. Solid level 8. So I can definitely work with a level 8. I think a level 8 is, you know, that yellow orange tone. So primary yellow with a little bit of orange, something that I can definitely control. I would probably consider this one on my arsenal, but I'm still hopeful that we're going to find this magic lightener. So next up is the Wella Blomdorplex 9. Now they didn't have any of the developers at Cosmoprof that corresponded with this, nor did they have the larger sizes. So I'm not quite sure what was kind of going on with the inventory, but nonetheless, a 28-ounce container will run you $40.70. Overall, this is going to give you a controlled and reliable lift of up to 9 levels. Some key feature benefits is that it has anti-yellow molecules. This is going to help reduce orange and yellow undertones during the lightening process. It has a dust-free formula. It's perfect for lightening even on pre-colored hair, reduces hair breakage, it's great for on and off scalp, and it has a vegan formula. Now, normally I would open this up and kind of dig around and show you exactly what the container looks like, but we got this little packet, so we're just going to go ahead and put this right into the bowl. Now, this specifically says to not mix this up 1-to-1, so that was a huge call out, and it has bold letters, no heat. So I'm going to take that very seriously here. And the best way to mix this up is a 1 to 1.5 to a 1 to 2 mixing ratio. So we're going to do a 1 to 2 with the Schwartzkopf developer since I couldn't find the developer for this. So let's see if this is truly dust free. So far, so good. You know what? I'm just going to empty the entire contents because it's such a tiny little content. So this has 30 grams in here. So that was pretty nice. So now I'm going to go ahead and add 60 grams of my developer. So let's go ahead and mix this up. Now I will say no dust. I don't smell strong fragrance, which is really, really nice. This is another lightener that a lot of hairstylists really love. So I'm curious to see the results for this one because I have never used Blondorplex 9. And so far I'm liking it. I am seeing a little bit of like rocky little pieces inside. We'll see if this continues to kind of break up as I mix it. And now let's go ahead and apply it to our swatch. All right, so let's go ahead and do the brush test. I love how thick this is. Now, another call out for this lightener is that it says to not exceed 50 minutes of processing time. So no heat, no 1-to-1, and do not exceed 50 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and push this to the limit at 50 minutes. And I don't know, I like thicker lighteners too because it helps the hair stick to the foils, which I think is amazing for highlighting. I can't highlight without my hair sticking to the foil. This is why I don't like runny lightener, but I know some people like runny lightener. But let me know down below if you like runny lightener or you like thicker lightener. All right, so let's go ahead and let this one do its thing. It's been 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and take a little peeky peek. Wow, I think this one might be the lightest, but again, we gotta wash it out. We gotta see. Now that I have this washed out, I see a really great lift. However, this does look pretty light, and this Wella Blomdorplex definitely is a popular lightener for a lot of hairstyles. I would say the Schwartzkopf and the Wella Blomdorplex is probably like one of the two most popular lighteners that I see hairstylists talking about. So I was really kind of expecting really strong results for this one. The hair feels really great, feels nice and intact. The integrity is awesome, but let's go ahead and size it up to the level finder and see where exactly it lies. So it's definitely not a 7. I think we definitely are in that 8 zone and not quite a 9. Kind of, no, this is definitely a solid level 8. I do see a little tiny baby 9s going in there, but I'm gonna go with it. This is like a level 8.25. So like I mentioned before, I can definitely work with a level 8. I think it's a level and tone that I can control, neutralize, enhance. Gives me lots of wiggle room for what I'm trying to achieve. And overall, I think this did a really fantastic job going from that 2 to an 8.25. Next up is the Kenra Blue Powder Lightener. Now this comes at $22.16 for a 16-ounce container. Now this is the only lightener out of all of the lighteners that I'm featuring today that have up to 8 levels of lift. Some key features and benefits of the Blue Powder Lightener is that it has a blue base for neutralization during the lifting process for anti-yellowing effects. It's great for application into foil or balayage, and you can use it on or off scalp. So this is a lightener that I'm all too familiar with. I've been using this lightener for a really long time, so I know exactly how it smells, I know exactly how it works, and like I mentioned, this is kind of like my go-to for general lightening when I do use it in the salon. So it does have a little dusty dust action, you can kind of see it, and it has a really strong blue tint. So the only like negative to this is that it can kind of trick your eye a little bit when you are lifting and you take a peek in the foil. Sometimes you think it's done and it's really not. So that would probably be the negative about it. But overall, I do really like this lightener. It's, like I said, a good go-to power lifter. Now you can use any developer 10 through 20 on scalp and 10 through 30 off scalp. They don't recommend using 40 volume and absolutely no heat. So the best way to mix this up is at a 1-to-2 or 1-to-3 mixing ratio. I personally like the 1-to-2, and that's kind of what we've been doing this entire video. So we're gonna go ahead and stick with that and then do twice the amount of developer. Personally, I think this mixes up pretty nicely. It can get a little rocky at times if you don't mix it up well enough. But I think that's kind of like most lighteners. And this is the type of viscosity that I love. It kind of sticks to my whisk. Now let's go ahead and get this on a swatch. So let's go ahead and do the little brushy brush test. I have used this lightener so many times. If you've been on my YouTube channel, you've seen me use Blue Powder Lightener a gazillion times. So let's go ahead and get this on. So keep in mind, there's absolutely no heat. I think all of the lighteners so far that we have tested today require 0 heat. So that's really, really important. You can definitely, utilize the natural warmth from your client's hair. So I just really want to stress that. And you can really see this really rich blue pigment it has. And that's what I was kind of talking about earlier, which is it kind of tricks your eye a little bit. All right, this bad boy is done. It's been 45 minutes. It feels a little fluffy fluff. You can feel the swelling. So some of them have had some swelling, which is interesting. So let's take a peeky peek. Okay, so this is exactly what I'm talking about. When I look at this, I cannot tell that it's done, like at all. You kind of have to do like this wipe test And even then, when you do the wipe test, you're like, oh, that looks good. But then you go and wash it out and you're like, oh. So we're going to have to see, once we wash this out, exactly what it's going to look like. Because this is my go-to lightener for a lot of my basic foiling. Sometimes I use it for color correction, or if I'm just not quite sure what lightener I want to use, this is just like my standard go-to power lifter. And I think it did a really great job. I didn't get the full 8 levels of lift that are on the claims. However, let's go ahead and size this up to the level finder and see exactly where it lays. So you can see this is definitely like a solid level 8. And I love level 8 so far. I mean, that's realistic of what it lifts to in the salon. Most lighteners. This is definitely something that I can work with because we have a lot of those yellow/orange tones. It's something that I can control or enhance really, really easily. So overall, the integrity of the hair feels really nice, and the amount of lift that we got just proves to me why I continue to use this lightener. However, I'm still looking for that wow factor, that level 9 lift. Let's see if the last one is going to give me that. Now, last on my list is a Kenra Professional Beyond Bond Lightener, and this comes in at $27.32 for a 16-ounce container. Now, this one is probably my OG, very favorite lightener, and I can't wait to share with you why, but this does give you up to 9 levels of lift. Some key features and benefits is that it's formulated with dual bond complex. So this is going to mend the inner bonds and seal the outer cuticle of the hair. It also has claims that it's going to make the hair 28% smoother with over 50% more manageability. This is another one that I know exactly how it smells, what it looks like, what it feels like, but I really like this one because of the dual bond complex, and it's because when you're processing the hair, I really like it because it has that slip to it, so it's perfect for somebody who already has blonding in their hair, and or maybe you're doing some correction. So that's really why I like this lightener, but it also can be really aggressive. Honestly, the color of it's really pretty. It has like a little bit of a violet tone, which I don't really know how much the blues and the violets really control, but I do think that they control the yellow tones just a little bit. Now, this one didn't have too much of a dust factor to it. I think that's probably also why I like it. But you can mix this up 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 depending on the viscosity that you want. And then this is great for on scalp with 20 volume and then off scalp up to 30 volume. They don't recommend 40 volume with their lightener. And again, absolutely no heat. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the 1 to 2. That's typically my go-to of what I like for this lightener. And you can see this one mixes up really easily as well. This is another one where it kind of gets like a little sandy rocky in the beginning, but as you mix it up, it gets kind of smooth. And then here's my viscosity test. I really like how thick that is, and it's sticking to my whisk. Now let's go ahead and get this on the swatch. Let me know if you try this little brush test down below. I'm just so curious if you guys measure your lightener according to like the thickness and how it holds on your brush, because I do all the time. I'm gonna go ahead and get this on really quickly. Now you can see this lightener is a little different than the blue powder because it's not so blue pigmented. So why I like this one too a little bit better than the blue powder, just in comparison of the 2 Kenra ones, is that I can see exactly what it looks like when it's done lifting. So I don't have any other really cool fancy shit to say, like bake, cook. All right, let's see what this does. I don't know, but I'm done. 45 minutes have passed. Let's take a little peeky peek. Like I said, this is like my favorite lightener. I'm actually kind of like a little disappointed. I'm not gonna lie, not gonna lie. Usually I get really great results from this, but oh no, just gotta wash it off and see. I hate to say it, but this was a big letdown. I think the claims of the 9+ levels of lift with the Beyond Bond, I was expecting it to do a little bit more because I really do love this lightener, and I love it specifically for color corrections on already blonde hair that needs a little bit more oomph. I think since the reformulation, it was supposed to be a little bit more stronger, but I quite didn't get that. I think this was probably the least amount of lift, and it didn't lift as light as the blue powder. So when I look at the 2 Kenra lighteners in comparison, with one claim at 8 levels of lift, I was expecting this one to do a little bit more. in the time frame. So let's go ahead and see exactly what level this truly is on the level finder. So I was gonna go straight to the 7 because that's what I think it is, and it is 100% a solid level 7. This is the darkest out of all of the lighteners. I mean, I know how to use it, I know when to use it, I just wouldn't use it in this scenario. I just would not use it to lift a version level 2. This would definitely not be my choice of lightener, but integrity feels really amazing. I think that overall it feels great. I do love it. I think I will still continue to use it because I do like it for color corrections. But like I said, in this scenario, wah, wah, wah. Now we have them all lined up, and you can see some did better than the others, but overall they did pretty well considering we were lifting a level 2. I will say that every single one of these lighteners left the integrity of the hair intact. Each of the swatches felt really great, so there's definitely no minuses or losing points with any of that. Really, I'm just kind of looking at lift factor here and which one truly did the best according to the timing that was recommended on the manufacturer's instructions. Granted, when we're working behind the chair and with experience and skill and knowledge that's built over time, after learning about the rules, we know how to break them. So sometimes we can definitely push some of the lighteners a little further than what's really recommended according to manufacturer's instructions. But this is the amount of lift that we got with what was on the packaging. Another factor to consider of why we may not have gotten that 9+ levels of lift is the natural warmth that comes from our bodies. So when we're doing clients' hair, that warmth from the head can definitely aid in the lifting process. But if you're working in a cool environment, a really cool tip is just throw a towel over their head to encapsulate that heat, especially if the AC is blasting in your salon. But after looking at these, there's a few that stand out, and that's the Joico Blondeme Silverlight, which is the new kid on the block, the Danger Jones, and then also the Wella Blomdorplex. But the swatch that had the most amount of lift according to manufacturer's mixing ratios and instructions is Danger Jones. Now, the reason why I picked Danger Jones is not only because of the integrity, they all were equal in that department, but definitely the lift. This was the only one that got to a solid level 9. We got like an 8.5 with lots of 9s in here. So definitely got a solid lift that I can easily tone into almost any shade. Now, I was really impressed in second place with the Joico Silverlight. I loved that it had that charcoal base. I definitely think it's something I want to add to my arsenal because I can definitely see how it can aid in creating a cooler base of a tone before doing any ashier shades. So I'm excited to kind of play with this one a little bit more and see how I can use it with my clients. And the Wella Blomdorplex did a phenomenal job as well. It was third place for me. I did like how it felt. I'm excited to add these, like I said, to my arsenal and see how we can use them. So the next time that you're at Cosmoprof and you're looking to add or try a new power lifter to your arsenal, definitely keep this video in mind. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe. Share this video with a hair bestie who might want to see how these lighteners line up. And like always, you can head on over to my website, MirellaManelli.com, and be sure to sign up for my newsletter where I can send you education and updates right to your inbox. And launching really soon, Airbnb University. This is where confidence behind the chair starts right here. So be sure to head on over and get on the wait list because you're not going to want to miss it. You can sign up at airbnbuniversity.com. And like always, thank you so much for watching and sticking with me to the very end, and I'll see you in the next one.